And also this bolt down here where the subframe is another one that's just to 20 foot-pounds. And that concludes the subframe is completely installed into place and fastened. We can move on to next we're going to put the left front foot peg and the gear shift linkage back on the motorcycle. I'm going to start by turning the lower bolt in just finger tight, and then just now I tighten it a little bit here with the ratchet so it's not so much slop in it, but I don't want to tighten it completely till I start the top one, which after that we'll put the top one in, which is of course the longer of the two. As you can see, there's like a spacer welded on the frame till it goes into where the threads are. Without a doubt, you're not going to mix the bolts up though due to the size difference, because the short one wouldn't reach the threads and the long one, well, if you turn it in at the wrong spot, it would be like 3 inches of it hanging out in midair. Okay, that's pretty much that's back in, and now we're going to torque this, and this is also get torqued to the 20 foot-pounds is my interpretation from the Honda service manual. Okay, and with those torqued up and into place, there's one more step we have on this is to hook the gear shift linkage back up. I put that little pinch bolt in just finger tight when I removed it so I didn't lose it. It's not a real big bolt. And slide this back on the threads approximately where I had marked it. One thing on this, if you do put it on at the wrong place and you does not want to shift gears right, you can adjust it later on, which I actually had to do because when I first rode the bike, I went to take it out at first and the pedal hit the frame. I just brought it right back to the garage and then I just took and readjusted it. But yeah, if you do get it at the wrong place, it's not hard to change. Okay, after all that, we can get the floor jack out of the way and we can let the engine hoist down. This will make life easier instead, especially the floor jack. I was tired of working around it. But now the bike's all again can sit like it always does on the kickstand. I wish it had a center stand, but that's something hardly anything has a modern era. Okay, after all of that other heavier duty, so to speak, work, now we're going to get the starter wire back on the starter and fasten it into place. It's not a lot of room to access it, but there you can squeeze your hand back in very carefully. Okay, now I'm just going to use the wrench and tighten it. It's a 10 millimeter. And there's not any room to get a ratchet on it or such. Okay, after getting the main starter to positive wire hooked up, we're going to fish it out and then we're going to hook the ground cable back up here, which I shoved it out of the way behind this chrome cover between the engine and the frame of the bike, so it wasn't in the way and hanging up when I was moving the engine. And if you look, this goes down on the motor block itself. Actually, I must apologize. The ground wire actually goes on a tab that's molded onto the starter and screws on, but I think it does still go down into the block. But just to save anyone from being disappointed. Alrighty, now we're going to put the brake pedal and the linkage for the brakes back on the motorcycle. I'll share just a quick overview of it before we start putting it on. And here I'm going to put the rear part where it hinges with this pin. And you see the pin's like a half moon shape. It sits against the like a little tab that's molded onto the linkage itself. And I'm going to take and work this cotter key down in, which will test your patience. Okay, with the cotter key back in, now we're just going to bend it so it don't fall out. One end of it one way and one the other. And now we can put the linkage part back on the front of it. Well, actually, you have your foot peg goes on. It's a little tricky. I'm going to take and get the upper bolt here in the foot peg to hold it to the frame of the motorcycle first. And if you look here carefully, I actually have to push back a little bit on the linkage itself like you'd be applying the brakes till I can get the bolt to line up. Now it does. Now we can grab a ratchet and tighten the bolts up. Now, before I go longer, I just want to be sure the brake pedal, the rear brake works fine, and you can see the linkage is moving and it's pushing the rod back to the drum brakes in the rear. Now we're going to hook up the stoplight switch, which means first hooking this spring through the little hole where the little plunger comes out of the bottom of the switch, and there it is. And then we can take it, try to show you as well as I can here. Let's take it and we'll run it down through the hole in the frame of the bike. There's a bracket made for it. Pardon me again, the bracket for the brake light switch is actually part of the pedal assembly. But anyhow, once it's down through, then you can just take and hook the spring to the little hook there on the pedal. And as you see, when that pulls down is what will make the brake light come on. And now we're going to merely just plug the horns back in. Sort of cut and dry on this step. There's just a view of the wires with them plugged back into the horn. And now we're going to route the wire that goes up here for the brake light switch. You can see how I'm routing it behind the frame, that when it comes time to put the radiator back on, it will not be in the way. Thus, with the wire plugged back in, we're going to take this cable clamp and wrap it back around where the wires for the horn and the brake light switch were fastened earlier before disassembly. And now I'm going to hook the hose up to the front coolant pipe to get the antifreeze so it'll circulate through the motor from the radiator. The back head I'll be doing later, but right now it's a good time to do this when I can get to it easier with all the cables and that out of the way. And you can see shoving it back on. You want to make sure it is the whole way into place. And you can tell where the clamp had originally sat. Now, with the hose back in, I'm going to use my long needle nose pliers and just bring the clamp back up. And I'm going to try to position it as close as I can to where it originally had been. And there, that's back on. And here now it is time we're going to put the radiator on. I'm pointing out first, there's little brackets welded into the frame is where these rubber mounts on the radiator itself will sit. Okay, after sitting the rubber bushings down into the brackets on the frame, make sure no wires are in the way, and then I'm going to take the wire for the electric fan, and that goes up in the frame first. And then the radiator just sort of hinges back into place. And for the moment, I'm going to install this upper bolt, although later on it's going to have to be taken out to hook the upper radiator hose up. And you can see now I'm just taking more wires here and routing them under these clamps as part of this on the side of the radiator molded. And that's nice and out of the way. Nothing's going to get caught up in any wheels or anything. Okay, now we're going to plug the electric fan in. And it plugs in right beside where the rear brake light switch did. Then after plugging it in, we're going to slide this rubber cover back over it. And now it's time we're going to hook the lower radiator hose back up, slide the clamp on the hose if it's not already left on it from disassembly. And it's not too hard to get the lower one on. And just start working it back and forth until it goes on. Snug fit, but it's going. The good news is it won't leak. Okay, and there's back to where it's at. I'm just going to tighten it with I believe these are 7mm. Providing your bike still has the original factory clamps and not just somebody bought some aftermarket clamps and threw on it, then that's a different role. Okay, now I had to re-loosen the radiator to get the top hose hooked up. There was no way to do it with it in place, but remember we had just tightened the bolt in finger tight, so now just slide the clamp on that. Not a lot of room to work here, but you can take and you sort of have to support the hose with one hand slid back in around and never does go on. And then you can just barely get in there and tighten the clamp, but it does work. Okay, we tightened the radiator back into place, and then the last thing we're going to install the stone chip guard over the radiator, which it just slides down over the two brackets at the top, one bolt here at the bottom. And as for that, so this concludes another part 2 of the motor installation. I hope you found it informative, and please be sure to check back for more videos.